If you're new here and aren't familiar with who I am, my name is Nina. My life's been pretty hectic lately with everything that's been going on with this pandemic. But now that I'm spending so much more time at home with my kids, because like many of you, I'm homeschooling them, the other day I overheard my daughter talking to her classmates over the webcam about some scary online challenge that's popular right now, and it got me thinking about something that happened to me back when I was a teenager. And for some reason, I just had the urge to share it with someone. So here goes. Mirrors have long been associated with the supernatural in folklore, literature, and superstition. We're fascinated by our reflections and whether or not an exterior image might accurately show what a person is like on the inside. We wonder if mirrors might actually be more like windows, or perhaps even doors to another world, and if so, what they might let in or out, and whether we should cover them up in order to keep them closed. We worry that if we break a mirror, we'll be cursed with 7 years of bad luck, and many people even use them to play games, or challenges, as some may call them. Largely, I think, because we have a deep-seated psychological need to tempt fate. Do I believe that any of these games really work? Well, I won't tell you what I think. I'll let you decide that for yourself. However, I was naive enough to try one of these games a long time ago. I was a teenager at the time, probably about 15 or 16, and I was with my two best friends, Lindsay and Andrea. The three amigos, that's what everyone used to call us back then, because we were so close that we were more like sisters than friends. So anyways, have you ever heard of the Three Friends, Three Sins mirror game? Back then we called them games, not challenges, but it's also known by many other names. Just to name a few, the stairs game, the game of threes, but it's most known as Three Friends, Three Sins. However, I know it by its real name, the true you. Well, if you haven't heard of it, that's the game that me and my friends decided to play that fateful night. I'm not going to go into detail about our personal experience. I'll just lay out the rules for anyone who is brave and daring enough to give it a try. So supposedly, people of all ages would try this challenge because if the true you finds you, then you will regain whatever confidence you've lost. You'll feel happier, like all of your worries have been washed away. You'll be more confident about yourself and feel like you're finally living your best life. You will even look at the bright side of every situation. Basically, you'll become an all-around better person, and that usually leads you to becoming more successful in life. Well, as long as everything is done correctly. But first, let me just warn you that it's very crucial this challenge is done exactly as the rules say to do it, because if not, those involved could suffer dire consequences. So if you're really sure you want to do this, then listen to the rest of this very carefully. Actually, you should probably listen to it 3 or 4 times before doing so. The first pivotal aspect you must be aware of if you're going to do this is that it's a game of threes. You need 3 people to even attempt it, or there's no chance of it working. Also, the game has to begin precisely at 3:33 a.m., so it'd be wise to start setting everything up. I'd say about 30 minutes earlier just to be safe. The other crucial items you will need to carry this out are as follows. An alarm or timer that can be set so that you know how much time you have. There is a time limit to finish the challenge. It has to be completed by 4:06 a.m., so you have only 33 minutes to get it done. Also, you will need candles, which should be lit and placed in the right and left corner of every third step. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention you will need a flight of stairs, but there has to be at least a minimum of 9 steps or the maximum of 15 steps, but at the same time there must also be a middle step. So say your stairs has 9 steps, then you're good because number 5 would be the middle step, leaving 4 above it and 4 below it. But 12 steps wouldn't work because there are 6 on the top and 6 on the bottom, leaving no middle step. And another thing, I wouldn't light the candles until only a few minutes before 3:33 because you don't want to give them too much time to burn and risk them blowing out once you've already gotten started. I've only heard what can happen if they do, but trust me when I say, you do not want them to blow out. Next, you must have 3 mirrors, but not just any old mirrors. They can't be too big because this challenge is all about seeing your true self, or should I say, the true you. So if the mirrors are too big, then other entities can find their way through. And I'm not just saying that to try and scare you. 49 inches tall by 13 inches wide are the perfect size dimensions. Those are the long rectangular mirrors that a lot of people hang on the back of their bedroom doors. You can probably find them at any supermarket for pretty cheap. They work best because your whole body will take up the entire mirror, lessening the chance of something else trying to slip through. Also, I would suggest removing any other mirrors that are in the vicinity of where this is being done. But that's not a rule, just a suggestion. Now the next thing you need to know is that out of the 3 people who are participating, whoever is the oldest will stand up at the top of the stairs, and whoever is the youngest will go down and stand at the bottom. The other person will then be the first to go. Back when my friends and I did this, Lindsay was the oldest out of the 3 of us, so she stood up at the top of the staircase, and I was the youngest, so I was down at the bottom, which meant that Andrea went first. Both the people at the bottom and top of the stairs will need to hold their mirrors out in front of them, slightly tilted so that the only thing that can be seen is the reflection of the person who is walking up and down the stairs. So that means that the person at the top of the stairs will angle their mirror down, and then the person at the top will angle theirs up. The third mirror will be placed exactly in the center of the staircase, on the middle step, off to the right or the left, depending on what side the wall is on. If you have a wall on both sides, you may choose to lean it up against either side. If you have just a banister and no wall, again, either side is fine. Another thing you should know is that whoever goes first needs to be the most careful. Since they are the only one out of the 3 who has to go back down the stairs a second time to take the mirror from the person who is standing at the bottom, they are the individual who has the highest chance of, let's just say, something happening to them. Before I go on, I feel like I should warn you of a few more things first. Because, make no mistake about it, the stakes are high in this game. You do any part of it wrong, and like I said at the beginning, there will be dire consequences. If any of a number of red flags appear while the game is being played, it will mean trouble. Make sure that no matter what, none of the candles blow out until you're completely done. If a candle does blow out, immediately stop what you're doing, exit the room. Actually, let me rephrase that. Run. Run to your bedroom and lock the door behind you. That's right, you heard me. Lock the damn door. Do not come out until daylight, and whatever you do, don't fall asleep. The following day, you can repeat the process. Actually, no, you must repeat the process, because once you've started, you have to finish, or there will be hell to pay. Just make sure to do things right the second time around. Same time, same place, and same rules. So now the time has come to begin. At 3:33 a.m. on the dot, the first person will start to make their way down the stairs. How quickly they move is up to them, but keep in mind that everyone has to complete the challenge before 4:06 a.m. So they walk down the stairs, and while they do this, they have to recite this exact chant. Please protect my friends and me, as we are a group of 3. I descend to find myself. To better my life, I need your help. Now be careful at this part. A lot of people get tricked by the wording, and from what I've heard, it hasn't worked out in their favor, so pay very close attention. You must recite the chant 3 times. You say it the first time by yourself, but then the second time the other 2 have to join in. But remember, everybody has to say it 3 times, so the very last time the chant gets recited, you remain silent because you've already said your 3 chants and the others will say it once more. And another thing, you can't look back behind you for absolutely any reason at all, because if you do, whatever is in the mirror behind you will be looking back at you, and let's just say you failed the challenge. You must keep your eyes on the mirror at the bottom of the stairs the whole time. Now, when that person gets to the bottom, they can't touch the actual floor. They must turn around on the bottom step, and I'd suggest doing it as fast as possible. Another critical detail that must be followed is that you cannot, and I mean absolutely not at any time during this challenge, look at the mirror that is in the middle of the stairs, or once again, the results will not be in your favor. Now, on your way back up the stairs, you must recite a different chant, and just like on the way down, you will start it off and then the others will join in. And this chant must also be recited 3 times as follows. Please forgive me for all of my sins, and embrace my gaze as I ascend. I only hope I don't offend, and if you let me, then I'll transcend. Another very important rule is that the 2 people who are standing at the top and bottom of the stairs must keep their eyes locked on each other the entire time. Nothing else. They can't look at you, and they especially should not look into the mirror that the other is holding, or they will be the one to suffer the consequences. If they break eye contact at any time, then that will interrupt their concentration and the whole thing will need to be started over. After you have completed the challenge, made it back to the top of the stairs, and taken the mirror from the person standing there, then that person will proceed to take their turn and do exactly the same thing you just did. And remember, now that you're the one standing at the top, you must keep eye contact with the person at the bottom the whole time. And don't forget to join in the chant the second time they say it. And remember, both chants must be recited 3 times, going both down and then up the stairs. Once they have finished their turn and made their way back up to take the mirror from you, now this is the most risky part of the whole challenge. Out of all the times you've already went up and down the stairs, this time you will be tempted more than ever to glance over into that mirror that's in the middle of the steps. It may even seem as you're walking down the stairs that the mirror is getting closer. In some cases, people have even reported seeing something moving inside of the mirror in their peripheral view. But no matter what you think you see, it's very important to ignore it and keep your eyes on the mirror in front of you. All that should remain on your mind is to complete the task at hand. Once you've taken the mirror from the person at the bottom of the stairs, it's now their turn to walk up and down the stairs chanting. Remember, do not break eye contact with the person holding the other mirror at the top of the stairs. And like I said, now that you've gone up and down the stairs 3 times already, your eyes will be drawn to that middle mirror. But you and only you will know that out of all of the consequences, something in the pit of your stomach will warn you that that middle mirror is the true threat throughout the entire game. So don't fall for its tricks. Keep your eyes locked on your friend at the top of the steps and fight your way through it because it's almost over. And whatever you do, don't let that middle mirror distract you to the point that you forget to chant along with the others. Once the last person has made it back to the bottom of the steps and takes back their mirror, quickly put away all of the materials used except for the mirrors. And after you've done that, then each of you will take your mirror. The person at the top will take that one. The person at the bottom will take theirs. And yes, that means you're left with the one in the middle, which I'm certain you're probably extremely terrified of. But don't worry, you're free to look at it. For now. One last reminder, everything must be done quickly, but also carefully and precisely if you want this to work. You must be in the room with the mirrors at 4:06 a.m. on the dot, not a second after. So then, you take the mirrors into the bedroom where you all will be sleeping that night, and lean them up against 3 separate walls in the room, making sure that they are facing you. As you all talk, giggle, and joke about what just happened, You're free to look into them, like I said, for now. But eventually, you all will have to go to sleep before the sun rises. And remember, the game starts at 3:33 and has to be over at 4:06. So depending on daylight savings time, the sun could be rising at 5 or 6 o'clock. So even if you have to take NyQuil, sleeping pills, or drink a glass of warm milk, do whatever you need to do to get you to sleep the fastest. It's not necessary, but it's recommended to have a sleep mask or to tie something around your eyes like a bandana or even a t-shirt, because an extreme no-no is not to look into any of the mirrors once you've fallen asleep until daylight. As you're all lying there, fast asleep, the true you is now searching for you and trying to make its way into your body, and your friends' true selves are looking for their bodies as well. Now you have no protection of the candles or your friends being awake, so if you peek and see anything else lurking outside of the now 3 open windows, which are the mirrors, then it is free to do whatever it wishes with you. If everything is done correctly and you wake up the next morning safe and sound, congratulations, you've completed the challenge. Sometime within the next 3 days, things should start looking up for you, and you'll feel better about yourself. After 6 days, things will start to get even better. Maybe you'll win the lottery or get that new job you've just interviewed for. Then, after 9 days, it'll feel like you're sitting on top of the world. But don't get too distracted by your own happiness, good fortune, and wealth, because the first 3, 6, and 9 days that go by are when you really need to pay close attention to your other friends. Because if anyone messed up, even the tiniest bit during the challenge, this is the time that you will begin to notice it. While things are going good for you, the opposite will be happening to them. After 3 days, if they seem like they're not themselves, acting different or maybe even a little hostile, then after 6 days they become distant, stop answering your calls and start avoiding you, and then after 9 days, they just completely disappear. Then look out, because that means something went terribly wrong. They must have glanced into one of the 3 mirrors while performing the challenge, or they didn't recite the chant properly, or they woke up in the middle of the night and saw something that they weren't supposed to see. That's the moment you'll know it's the real you, but that's not the real them. So good luck to anyone who is courageous enough to give this a try. I did it once, and things turned out pretty good for me. I have everything I could possibly ever want, but I will never in my life attempt the challenge again. By the way, I forgot to mention that after that night, I never saw my friend Andrea again. Until a few years ago, when I came across an online news article, I barely recognized her. And let's just say that the things they claim she did, well, that's not the same girl that I remember. Don't forget to subscribe for new stories weekly. See you next time on
Nina's Nightmares.
Really? You're supposed to click the like button, not me. Ugh.